Welcome to the 5 Real Talk. I'm here with Ryan Fleb. We just did a munch review on the Square Donuts, and my opinion, pretty good donuts, right?
Those are very well done donuts. Ran into the owner on our way out. Great guy, gotta love him. Hooked us up with some great donuts this morning, and we gave him a great shout out there on YouTube. Go check out that video.
Well, it's not championship week yet, but the Big Ten tournament is underway and in its semifinal. Michigan playing Michigan State right now. Michigan State just went up by 3 going into halftime. What do you expect in this game, Ryan?
I see Miles Bridges leading the second half. He didn't have a huge first half. I see him stepping up to lead this Sparty team to a big victory.
Yeah, Miles Bridges definitely having a great game, hitting that 3 to go up at halftime. Tom Izzo, phenomenal coach in the playoffs, in the Big Ten tournament, in the NCAA tournament. Just a great overall coach in March, but definitely still building to his resume here.
He's definitely still building to his resume, Tim. And John Beilein, also a strong coach with Xavier Simpson at their floor general this year. He's doing a great job filling in for the missing Derek Walton from last year. And he's filling in for these Wolverines very well.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Big Ten bracketology right here. So Michigan State, of course, is a lock in the tournament. Purdue, locked in the tournament. Ohio State, Michigan, both locks in the tournament. Do you think Nebraska has a chance to get in after suffering that loss in the Big Ten tournament to Michigan, or do you think that they're out now?
Well, with them losing handedly to Michigan earlier in the year and also again last night, that shows that they can't handle those bigger squads maybe, but they could definitely be in with going 13-5 in the Big Ten, in my opinion.
Well, 22-9 overall record, 13-5 in the Big Ten, like you said. Nebraska, a pretty good team, but I don't know if it's enough for them to get into the tournament.
They might slide in there at a 9 or a 10, in my opinion.
Now they got a Penn State on the bubble here as well. I think Penn State's got to be in.
Penn State's
especially they're playing Purdue tonight. If they win that game, they're in, no doubt. But right now, I think they're already sitting in.
People are hating on this Big Ten league this year. I disagree. I think they have 2 extra strong squads in there with Penn State and Nebraska. Nebraska took 2 L's to Michigan by a handedly manner, but then again, every team is lost by a good amount this year.
That would only put in 6 Big Ten teams, too. That wouldn't be that many. If only 4 Big Ten teams, that would be very small. I think you have to put Nebraska and Penn State in. Like you're saying, it's a pretty deep conference. You saw Rutgers beat up on IU, and then they gave Purdue a game, and they're one of the worst teams in the conference.
Yeah, well, we see these 6 teams going in. Well, obviously IU's not getting in at that barely 500. Iowa's not getting in. Wisconsin.
There's pretty much, after those 6 teams, there's really no other shot.
Yeah, there's
the
no
Big
shot.
Ten has.
Rutgers was making a bit of a run there. I was thinking that they were going to beat that Boilermakers squad last night for a second with strong performances by Sanders.
Very strong performance last night. We look at the box score of this Michigan Wolverines team against the Sparties. And not too many leading scores for Michigan, and they're only led by Matthews, who has 6 on the, Simpson, who has 7 on the night in the first half. No really star player leading this Michigan team right here, and I think that could be trouble for them going into the second half. They can't figure out who their go-to guy is down the stretch. It's always difficult to pull off the upset because Michigan State knows who their go-to guys are.
Yeah, well, throughout this year, I've seen Michigan pull out some great wins, but they only get those big wins when their big guy Mo Wagner is just dominating that post. And right now, during those last 5 minutes of that first half, I was thinking, damn, he needs to get a shot in there before the half comes, so he's locked in for that second half.
Yeah, he only has 1 point on the night, but he does have 5 rebounds. 4 of those are defensive rebounds.
He's doing a good job cleaning up down there, but he's 0 for 5 from behind the arc, and he's just not having a very strong performance. So if this Wolverine team wants to step up and make this big W, then Mo Wagner's got to step up.
Okay, so clearly we've established ourselves on the Michigan and Michigan State game. Michigan State definitely the favorite, but Michigan could repeat as Big Ten champions if they can get the win tonight. Who do you think they're going to play the winner of? Penn State or Purdue? Penn State, very hot team, beat Ohio State 3 times this year. coming in with a major confidence and chip on their shoulder against Purdue.
This Penn State team is very underestimated by any team in the Big Ten. You've seen them beat Ohio State. You've seen them beat a couple of the top tier teams anywhere, really. They can put up a game with basically anybody in Lamar Stevens, Josh Reeves, and in my opinion, one of the best players in the country, Tony Carr, the floor general for the Penn State Nittany Lions. He's going to give Carson Edwards and the Purdue front court a run for their money tonight, and I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Purdue will pull out with the win tonight.
On the other hand, Purdue, coached by Matt Painter, he's going to need to be a well-coached game. We know this one's going to be close. He's going to need to stay calm down the stretch and know his seniors. Dakota Mathias, definitely a key player for Purdue tonight, I feel like, and they're getting their run started for March. Purdue opens up the game as an 8-point favorite. I don't expect them to cover that spread because I do believe Penn State, by Tony Carr, will be keeping this game close and keeping us on our toes, but in the end, I'm going to have to go with Purdue advancing to the finals of the Big Ten championship.
But the big question is, if Purdue does make that championship, are they going to win it all? Are they going to win this Big Ten tournament this year?
You know, Purdue can struggle with either one, Michigan or Michigan State. Definitely some weaknesses there. Wagner can guard Haas, who Purdue likes to run their offense through. But then I think Michigan State gives Purdue a little bit more trouble. We saw Michigan State Purdue. Purdue lost on basically a buzzer beater by Miles Bridges from 3 that some like to call a prayer. But I just don't think Matt Painter can honestly coach with Beeline and Izzo. I think they're both have a lot better resumes in March, and I think I would take either Michigan or Michigan State over Purdue in a championship game in the Big Ten.
I completely agree with that. Whichever team comes out of that MSU versus UM game comes out of that with a W, I think they're going to take on Purdue in the championship and come out with a win.
Just for a brief preview, that's our preview on the Big Ten, but let's move subjects a little bit onto the ACC. We've got Duke, North Carolina tonight for the season finale. Number 9 North Carolina against number 5 Duke. Both teams coming off a loss. North Carolina lost on a prayer by Miami. Jaquan Newton hit almost a half-court shot to beat North Carolina in that one. Does that deplete North Carolina's confidence going into this game?
I don't think so, because any time that this North Carolina squad gets to face up against Duke and the other way around for the Blue Devils facing North Carolina, it's going to be mad. It's going to be crazy, and both these teams want it all. They want to make a big run in March, and most importantly, they want to focus on this game tonight and beat the opposite squad.
This is not even arguable. This is by far the biggest rivalry in college basketball. It's going to be at Cameron Indoor tonight. Duke's a 7-point favorite going into it. Duke, Marvin Bagley, Grayson Allen have to play well tonight. And on the other hand, for North Carolina, it's going to have to be led by Joel Berry. He had 31 in the loss to Miami, and it still wasn't enough to get them that win.
Well, I see this being a very close game. And I think if this was in Chapel Hill, North Carolina would beat them by 10 or more. But the fact that it's at Cameron Indoor with the crazies going wild, this is going to be a close game. But I think it's going to come down to either a final shot or the final minute. Who's playing harder, who wants it more, and who's hitting shots down the stretch. But I would like to see North Carolina pull out this win because I see Duke kind of struggling right now with Marvin Bagley. Is he still out?
Marvin Bagley is back for tonight's game.
He's back for tonight's game. So that adds in some
but
great
he hasn't
factors.
been playing with them, so he might be a little rusty coming into tonight's game. But Grayson Allen definitely has picked up his playing as the senior for this Duke Blue Devils team. He's been in a lot of these rivalry games. And so is Coach K and so is Roy Williams. Very veteran teams on both halves. But Duke on that one half, 4 out of their 5 starters are freshmen. So they haven't been there. Marvin Bagley hasn't been there. But only one, Grayson Allen's been there. On the other hand, North Carolina has some people. Luke May's been there for a little bit. Joel Berry's been there for a little while.
Luke May, he's an All-American in my eye.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable this year for his senior year, and he is just he's an All-American, just straight up.
So tonight, Duke North Carolina. Cameron Indoor, 8:15. You got anything to add,
Well,
Ryan?
I don't see if Duke does pull away with this win, they're not covering that 7-point spread. I see if this Duke team is going to be ranked 5th, I see Vegas. I see this as an embarrassment to my team, winning by 7 at Cameron Indoor to this North Carolina team who is strong, but they're not
A
a
7-point
powerhouse.
favorite is big in this rivalry game. Never does a team pull away by 7.
Yeah, that's
in
way
this
too.
one.
That's way too large of a margin.
I don't expect the game to be that far apart. I expect it to be a close one, a tight one. And let's look at the overall conference of the ACC. We saw Xavier probably going to be the 1 seed. Probably going to be a 1 seed. They've solidified themselves in the Big East. But now in the ACC, Virginia winning the regular season. Doesn't matter what happens tonight in Duke, North Carolina. They're going to take the regular season 1 seed in that ACC tournament. So you look at Duke and North Carolina and the depth of this ACC conference. What bubble teams do you expect getting in, like a Virginia Tech team who just lost to Miami 68-69 earlier today at noon?
I've seen Virginia Tech play a few times under Buzz Williams, and as phenomenal of a coach he is and a great squad that he has, Virginia Tech has had a few big wins this year. Against UVA, that was a great win for that Virginia Tech Hokies team, and I could see them maybe sliding into March.
I agree. I think you almost have to put that Virginia Tech team in. They're kind of in the same situation as Penn State. They've got big wins. Penn State's wins came over Ohio State. Virginia Tech has that win over Virginia, the number 1 team in the nation. That's a huge win, and that almost has to be enough with 20 wins to punch your ticket into March. I don't think you can argue that's a bubble team. Many people expecting the ACC to have 9 teams in the tournament. That would be the most out of any conference this year, and I think that's given, that's earned. This ACC conference very deep this year. Teams like Miami, Virginia Tech, and then of course top heavy with Duke, North Carolina, and Virginia.
Well, I see a big sleeper in this ACC and even March Madness tournament is NC State. NC State is a great squad. They've been pulling away through a lot of games, and they're sitting at 10-7 in the conference. But some of those 10 wins are huge wins. I think they should be sitting at 20-10 and 10-7 on the year in the ACC. I think they're getting in.
I agree. Another team that should be in the ACC would have to be Florida State, sitting at 19-10. They started off the year really hot. They were in the top 25, fell off, had some bad losses, but all those losses came in close fashion. They lost to NC State. They lost to Clemson, who's another good team in this ACC this year, who has a better conference record or is tied with North Carolina, but they have the win over North Carolina. Florida State definitely should be a team that's in, and then you look at Louisville, maybe another team that should be in. 19-11 had some off the court issues this year. I don't think they deserve to be in because of that. If they're a bubble team, they have off the court issues. That doesn't have to do with any of their play, but there are teams more deserving of a spot in March than Louisville, I believe.
Yeah, if Louisville got that win the other night against Virginia, you gotta put them in because they've shown that they can play ball, that they can run with these top tier teams, in my opinion. But another team in this ACC is Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Bonzie Colson is returning for Notre Dame.
Bonzie Colson has returned, but it's almost a little too late now, Tim.
Yeah, people are saying, can Bonzie Colson's return boost Notre Dame to the right side of the bubble? People seeing them as one of the first 4 out right now, not the last 4 in. I think it's going to stay that way, even with Bonzie Colson's return, Ryan. He's not going to be enough for this Notre Dame team to get them into the tournament and make a deep run in the ACC tournament as we go into championship week. Thank you for tuning into the 5 Real Talk. It's been Timmy Dixon, Ryan Taleb. I hope you tune in to the Big Ten tournament and see if Purdue can win it. Michigan State, or Penn State even has a chance to be one of the sleepers in that Big Ten tournament. Again, thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, follow us, YouTube, at the 5 Real Talk.